Hello, everybody. Welcome to Parlour Tea, episode 4.
Yes, already. I can't believe that. It's just flowing.
It's just flying by. Before we get started, you'll see a ticker running down at the bottom that said this episode is pre-recorded. We are pre-recording this one. So if you are asking questions in real time, we may not get to answer them, but we will. We'll answer your questions when we can.
Absolutely.
So I'm Genevieve.
I'm John.
We are two of the owners of the Parlour here in Keyport, and we are so excited to introduce our next guest.
Absolutely, Nicole is great. I think I just messed that up, but
that's fine.
But Nicole is great. We're really excited when she actually has the opportunity to come. I won't get into the detail of what she does. I'll let her do it. But why don't we bring
Nicole on?
Yes, bring Nicole up and
hope you're ready, Nicole.
Yeah.
Welcome. Hi Nicole. Hi. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a professional tarot reader. I am a quantum Reiki master, and I am also an astrologer and an author and a speaker. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
We wanted to do something with the astrology. We have to talk afterward.
Sure.
That'd be awesome. I had an idea.
John always has ideas.
I try.
So Nicole has been partnering up with us. It's been 3 times so far.
Yes.
Come to the Parlour and done readings. The very first set of readings were pet readings, which is something that is incredibly near and dear to both of us, I think.
Absolutely.
And the readings that we got were just wonderful.
On point.
Yeah, definitely on point.
I have to tell you, we've had breeders, and we're not poo-pooing, but the professionalism that you ended up coming, it was like Mary Poppins pulling out everything out of your bag and like setting up this such like a professional workspace, which was really exciting to see someone so well prepared. And then to go through the process, because we had the opportunity to sit with you and do the pet, was on point. It was great. It really was. And I think that the people getting to know you and being here, even though it's been a couple of times, but they've asked when you're coming back. They've asked, awesome. Like when you were here, when were you here? The last week?
Yeah, the 18th, I think it was.
Yeah, and I had my friends come and utilize you. They're great. The people that come in here are great, and you could feel that energy when you get really great, open-minded individuals sitting with someone that is just the same way. There's a feed off of it, and I just thought everybody had a really good time with you, so that's great. So,
and I absolutely feel the same way, like 1,000%. It's so great. I love coming down there. I love the energy of the shop and the area. And I actually grew up in the area. So it's almost like, kind of going back home a little bit when I do come visit.
Well, you always have a home here. So, but there's go ahead.
But yeah. So one of the things that when we first talked, you told me the story of how you started doing pet readings. Would you mind sharing that?
Oh my gosh. So what happened was,
I love this story so much.
So the dog's name is Bunny. So before I forget, I wanted to mention her name. So what happened was I was a resident reader at another shop closer to where I live in Chester. And the owner of the store was friends with this person, Jersey Pit Rescue. So she asked me one time, do you mind if, I have the rescue? And so she liked to do little events where she had multi vendors and layer men. And I used to read there every Saturday. So she asked me hey, would you, mind if they're there? And I'm like, no, I'm totally fine with it. More people, the merrier. And what happened was at the tail end of the day, after everybody had left, they were outside and I was doing the readings inside. So we were kind of separated and I was just doing regular readings. It really wasn't, anything specific. And they brought one dog that was up for adoption, Bunny, in, and they asked me, they're like, can you just let Bunny sit here on your chair across from you and look like she's getting her cards read? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds so cute. Let's totally set this up. And she was sitting there, and I laid out 5 cards, and I'm looking like I'm talking to her, and they're doing a little photo shoot. But then after Bunny got up and left, and they took her home, something was just kind of itching at me, like, read the dog's cards. Like, read the cards, just throw 5 cards out and see. Like, I'm literally having this conversation inside my head. Like, okay, well, I'll just throw 5 cards out and see what Bunny wants in her forever family. And I read it. It was really sweet. And I gave it to the store owner. I'm like, here, just humor me and call your friend and tell her this is what I got. And she did. And what happened was it just kind of took off from there. It was almost like, well, you're reading energy, and dogs have energy and animals have everything has energy, so it doesn't matter. You can read. And it was just one of those aha moments. And the next time the rescue came around, I actually started doing pet readings, and I have like pet decks, and like I have a deck for dogs, a deck for cats, and then a deck for all different animals, and then an additional deck for animals that have crossed over. And it just exploded from there. And it was really amazing. But then, as everything always comes back around, I got asked specifically by Jersey Pit Rescue to do a fundraiser for them back in the fall. And now I'm going to start crying. Because
bring tissues, so
yeah, because people were booking on my site in advance for slots. And the first dog I read that day, she's like, the owner sits down. I don't see the dog yet because they were bringing. She's, oh, my husband's bringing the dog. I'm like, okay, but I have to tell you, this is the second reading you're doing for her. And I was like, wait, what? And she's, I'm Bunny's mom. And I'm like, oh, like we're all crying. And it was so nice. It was a really beautiful moment. And Bunny got another reading.
Yeah.
So I have to say, like, I have not heard of like pet readings till I heard that you do them, which I'm glad that you do them, because I think that besides people want to connect with someone on the other side that was a part of their life in human form, that they do want to connect. Sorry.
The pets get us.
Yeah, they do. Right here.
They do.
Like they want to connect with someone on the other side that has 4 legs or 2 legs or no legs. And it because they're like a snake or whatever. And I know you're big into snakes. But I just think that, it's a great experience that we try to be different here at the Parlour. And that was something that we felt was really very, good to offer and unique. So that's exciting.
The other thing that I love about it too is that so often you sit with your pet, you think that you know what your pet wants or needs because you're so closely aligned with them. It's so nice to get that other angle for pets that are still here, to be able to get a read on what would make them happy. I mean, that's what our whole lives are about, right? Is making our pets happy.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because I've kind of discovered through doing the readings that it helps solve a lot of issues as to why an animal is acting out or behaving in the way it is, and it helps the owner see things from a different perspective. I mean, I've had a case where the dog was acting out, and I think it was getting destructive, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, well, you're not communicating with them. And they're like, what? Like, well, you have to tell your dog, like, I'm going to work. I'm going to be back, like, in an hour, or you're in charge, or, and it sounds loony, but they're a child. Like they, when you study, because I actually also studied reiki for pets, so I can do that as well now. And a dog, depending on its size, is only between 3 and 8 years old of a child. So, you have to think about, well, what would you do if you don't leave your kid home alone. I mean, we get that. But like, if you were to go to another room, you have to explain to the child, I'm going to leave the room and switch the clothes. I'll be right back. And then they're like, okay, I'm chill. So, it's almost the same. It is the same thing, very much so with our animals.
Right. I mean, that's funny when you said, when you leave. I always say to my dogs, we'll be right back, or we'll be back in a little bit, and I'll pick like one of the dogs' names. You're in charge.
Yep.
I always say that, like Finny's in charge, or like, Nick's or Blue, or even one of the cats.
Best one is in charge. What do you think?
Well, I think they probably like Finn because all Finn does is just lay there and sleep. So,
so they can
do whatever they want.
They can have all their friends over and party while Finn is in charge.
They don't do
it. Yeah, I mean, you set the house rules before you leave, and then you hope for the best. But I do the same thing,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it turns leaving them in charge,
Yep.
Yeah, I had them when I had two of them when they were younger. They were very destructive. When they were younger, like eating the side of the corner of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, they got better and everybody's fine.
I had that too. I had that too with my two when they were puppies, and it turns out there was a mouse in the wall, and they were just going for it. So, I mean, you never know.
We had hardwood floors, but they're not hardwood floors. They're a little like
nails.
Yeah, they're nails, and our one dog's nails are very long. And it's not because we're not taking care. Whenever we go, because they're pitch black, they're so nervous to cut them. So it looks like one of those girls that has those real long nails. So she'll, like, when she lays on her back, she has her, and they're like this, and they're just long nails. But when she walks, you can hear it's like she's wearing heels, little heels walking across. But it's very funny. But so that's how you ended up doing your pet readings.
Yes.
When did you know that you had these abilities that you could connect and then do readings? Yeah. I mean,
honestly, I was always kind of like the oddball kid. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna kind of be like, hey,
Parlour.
Yeah, and then on top of it, I'm a little dense. So like all of these things have been happening around me my whole life, and I was like, oh, well, that's not normal. Like that's normal for me, And basically, what happened was like 2018. I think it was really one of those things where I just really started letting go, and I had to like literally within 2 or 3 months, like move, like just get up and find a new place to live. And, and it was one of those times where I was like, I'm just going to go with this, like the universe and what it has in store. And the more and more I started letting go, the more and more I started realizing that there was things going on. And then kind of all came to a head when my dad passed in 2020. And my best friend is a medium. So, that was a little, so you're talking about, yes, reaching animals from the other side and everything. And my story is, yeah, she was reaching my father and my grandparents and like all these people. And I'm like, okay. And I still had it together until my dog showed up. And I was just like, I lost it. Like, and that's the thing where it's like, yeah, we are very attached to our animals. I'm an example. And, after that experience, I really started opening up more and more. And I'm like, okay. And I joined one of those like spiritual boxes of the month. And the first box was literally a full-size deck of tarot cards. And I was just like, okay, I'm not doing anything with my life right now. So we'll try it.
Right.
And that's basically it. I got a book, Easiest Way to Learn the Tarot Ever. And in that, Dusty by Dusty White, Dusty actually has an entire school set up, mystery school set up. So I joined the mystery school and I started learning and drilling, and that was it from there. And it really did. as odd as it sounds, it really did almost feel like I was remembering something I had forgotten.
So cool.
Yeah.
No,
That's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just listening to people tell their stories of how they found their spiritual path or their journey through this type of practicing and doing tarot cards, and some people are psychic. Sorry, some people are psychic. Some people are like do medium, and it helps them with the way that this stuff is. Sorry. Anyway, so it's just nice to hear someone else's story that
Cool.
it's every one of them is endearing about
and everybody's right, because everybody's gift is different, everybody's journey is different. Like, to find it, and that's the interesting part of it for each and every one of us. And basically, like, I'm not psychic as per se, that I can't tell the future type thing, future event. It's more of using the tarot as a tool for guidance and healing through spirit. So the information literally channels through me. And, once I smoosh the cards together, like, I don't remember anything. So it is literally like walking off a cliff sometimes. So
I have a question too.
Go ahead.
So no, I just wanted to know about your book, a little bit about your book, if you want.
So here was the deal. I really, when I started this, as I said, the deck just showed up, and I really had no intention. Like, my husband looked at me and goes, "Not another business." I'm like, no, I swear, not another business. Like, it's just going to be for me to do something to learn, because there's nothing going on right now. Because it was still kind of like October 21. It was still kind of like weird out, And I got to the point in my training through the school where you had to do 100 readings for the public to just get used to different things coming at you and for practice. And of course, with my friend, being in the community already, she's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Uh-oh." And she's literally sending me other mediums, other tarot readers, and I was just like, okay, like just handling it, just, going with the tide. And I had one of them that I read for her 3 times. And at the 3rd time that I met with her to read, she actually met in person. I was doing a lot. I did probably about 98% of them virtually, the readings that I was doing, because I trained virtually. I practiced virtually when I would drill with others. And then I actually was doing readings virtually. And she had actually come to my house and wanted a reading. And she just looked at me afterwards and she was like, "If you don't start charging, you are leaving a boatload on the table." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, I didn't even, like, it was just like, and that was the thing with my husband, was like, not another business. Yes, I have been. So that's the whole thing. And why John said before, like, you're so professional and blah, blah, blah. Well, I've been a serial entrepreneur since 2001. And that's kind of where I've gotten that. And I now look back and say I failed forward, because, all of those, I'm not going to say failures, but all of those
experiences,
exactly. All of those experiences and lessons led up to what I'm doing now. And it was almost like it all gelled. And
sorry.
So that's how I, created this book. Because I know if you're doing the math, you're saying, wait a minute, she's only been doing tarot readings professionally for like going on 2 years. But it's all of my other experiences in business itself that I applied to this book. And that was part of the problem, because I'm trying to get it even with the camera. Okay. Backwards.
And people can get that book on your website, right?
They can get it. Yes, they can go to my website and it says it's a click to buy my book through Amazon. Mm-hmm. But I also have it, and I'm stressing, go to Barnes & Nobles and ask for it, because they have the ability to order it through Ingram Spark. Cool. So you can get it either way. And it's also on Kindle as well. So Kindle. And it's basically a checkbox. Like you just go through it and, okay, you know what? I'm thinking about, doing this professionally. What do I need? What do I need to do legally? What do I need to think about as far as protecting myself with insurance? So all of these things are kind of set forth in here. And it's not just for somebody who wants to start a tarot business. It could be any spiritual business. It could be any business, because a lot of the rules that apply across the board. And there's a lot of things to think about that you don't think about.
I was going to say, a lot of people probably don't think that who would think that they need insurance to read tarot? Who would think that they should have an LLC? Like, most people probably don't think about that.
Correct. Right. But that's the thing, because if I'm coming into your store and let's just say I knock over the most expensive thing, what happens? Like,
that's what happens. We cry.
Right. But nobody thinks about that. And there was an experience that I had read on a board somewhere, and the woman was like, you need insurance. I went and knocked over somebody's 80-inch TV. And I'm like, like, yeah, inside somebody's house doing a tarot reading party. So shit happens. Right. There's no way to say it. You know? You have to, you have to be careful.
Right. And I agree with you. But like you had said, about your professionalism, which led to you to do this book. So you do tarot, you do it as couples, you do it as single, you do parties, you do pet readings, which all led this up to you now having your own space, right? Yes. You just got it recently.
I did, January 11th.
I have to see this space. We have to get there.
Yeah,
we gotta do it.
You guys would absolutely love it if you check out my Instagram page. It's got that total parlor vibe.
Oh, good.
Black lace curtains, the whole deal.
But it's nice to know that there is someone out there that is just going with the flow and leading, going on her journey to
doing
know
what
that
you want to do.
Doing what you want to do, but there, I always feel like your accomplishments have to have some form of touchability. There has to be some form of, like, the action plan. It has to be, that typical manageable, touchable, achievable kind of pieces. And I think that with you, the steps they don't seem that they're like big, long leaps. They're manageable steps that you can actually show that you're progressing into this larger spiritual you, which is great.
Yeah, no, the book definitely doesn't go, it's still like, hey, here's how I did it, but it's still you do you.
Correct.
And the other thing too is I feel like we get very overwhelmed. In general.
Oh yeah.
So this is really great because I have ADHD, and this is like really, like, this was my personal checklist when I did this. And have things grown and morphed and changed in the 2 years? Absolutely. I have a mailing list now. Here, I told you, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So it's just because of the fact that we have to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to get on the bike before we can even start pedaling.
Correct.
And that's part of what this book is. It's getting you started, that when you finally start treading water and you can handle asking for, an email address, or you can handle writing a newsletter. Okay, fine, let's do it. We can handle maybe posting a little bit more personal stuff on Instagram. Okay, let's do it. But for right now, it's not needed because what your end goal is, it is like, we have to make it finite. We have to take the baby steps.
Right. And I like what you said, because I'm older. I know that whole KISS method, but they dropped the last S because you can't say it anymore. But I do like, and I don't think we should say that on there, whatever. But I like the fact that we need to keep things simple, because the simplicity of something makes it more achievable for people, as opposed if people get turned off if you open up something that you bought with these instructions that are like, take A and then look at this and then do that.
And I think our attention spans have shortened so much too. So, and to have a resource like that help you guide through. I think as someone who is spiritual and as someone who's starting a spiritually related business, we tend to not think about the here and now. We tend to think about like, okay, what are the divine, what messages am I getting about this? And we get a little off that track, but it's creating something that it's reliable. It's a reliable resource. And I think that's a really cool thing. You don't often see that, I don't think.
But like you opening up this new business and doing things as a venture for the last 2 years thus far, we understand it because when we opened up this, we just wanted to, like, I just wanted to run through the streets and open a store, just throw everything in there. And we're learning that we jumped ahead
without a strong plan.
Without a strong enough plan, which now we're going backwards and we're refilling those little spots in to strengthen the business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having a location changes the game immensely. I mean, and I think even in my book, I was like, I'll never do it. And I'm like, but this opportunity came up and I'm like, I can't say no.
Yeah.
Like, it's like one of those things. And it's given me the ability to now do Reiki. Like, and now I can actually facilitate, like I have a place that I can facilitate.
Right. Which is another step in the plateau of what you offer. So, which is great. I don't want to end up making because we totally have going through I never realized with social media
how important
and you've seen we've changing that up. We went from very, very silent to a little bit more silent. Well, not as much as we have been now. I mean, we really stepped up our Instagram to try to do a little bit more and put it out there, because sometimes these types of roles like yourself, it's always the word of mouth as well. Like, I had a great experience with Nicole. We did. We tell people all the time, about the experience. I mean, I went when you were here 2 times ago, and I got people from the stores. I brought them in. But we really enjoy when you come, and we love our space too. So, I mean, we love the fact that people come in. And I like the one thing that I admire about you is that you sit in the environment of the store. So people, you get there's this.
People come in and they can see something's going on back here.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I kind of noticed. There's a lot of FOMO energy around what I do. So if I'm out in the open, people are like, oh my God. They want a reading, and the line forms and the whole, the whole thing just takes off on its own venture.
Right.
So, so there's definitely, an aspect to that.
Yeah,
I definitely get it. Part of the store. I'm not just hidden away in a corner. I want to be part of the action too.
I mean, I do agree with you. There is a misconception of the tarot when you're reading for people that they say, oh my, I don't want to hear nothing bad. I don't want to hear anything bad.
Every time he pulls a card, he goes, is this bad? Is this a bad card? Is this a bad card?
I'm learning them.
Right.
And,
there are no bad cards.
No. See, so the whole thing, there are no bad cards because every card is just a different message. And even with the reversals, everybody looks at my spreads and they're like, oh my God, they're all upside down. And I'm like, well, because it's an issue that's grating on you right now. You're obsessing over it. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So it's not and that's the whole thing, because, and you have a card, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, if you turn the picture upside down, you get another 1,000.
Yeah.
So all you did was just expand your vocabulary. It's not that something is bad or worse.
So you've been doing tarot for a certain period of time. What is your favorite tarot decks? Is that a bad question?
Oh, the right answer is.
Yeah, right, Rick.
I want you to be honest with you. I want you to tell, if you want to.
So I'll tell a story here. All right. when I trained, Dusty was very adamant, you train on the Rider-Waite-Smith.
Most
Like
yeah.
OG all the way. And then he's like, once you get it down, then you can go fancy. And I'm like, he's like, but the art changes the meaning. Unlike Lenormand, that a key is a key is a key, the art on the tarot changes the meanings. And I went off the deep end. I went in search of I got to have the fanciest deck, and I got to have one that really aligns with my style and my aesthetic. And then one day I picked up the Rider-Waite, and I kept saying, it feels really cartoony. I can't connect with it. Like I was searching for like a realistic deck, the former photographer in me. And one day I went back and I looked at that old school Rider-Waite, and I was just like, there is so much symbolism in there that it's unbelievable. So Rider-Waite, like all the way, Rider-Waite-Smith all the way. Will I make it where I get it where it's like line and watercolor and this and that? Like, yes, but like I still like the original line drawings of that. Like I even have a deck that they took the last, it's so cool. It's on drive-through cards, THRU cards.com for anybody that's interested out there. They took the last 5 remaining 1910 decks, scanned them, cleaned up like the dirt, not like the printing errors and stuff, and then reprinted it. So when you hold it in your hand, it's literally a replica of the 1910 deck, which is like so awesome. So that one, I'd have to say, like overall, I love that one. An altered one that I really like is a mix of the Thoth deck and the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's called the Deck of the Bastard. It's by tarotby7.com. Amazingly talented artist. It actually, the one that I have a Deck of the Bastard, but the one that I like even more is out of print. Oopsie. But it's the Samhain deck that he made especially for Samhain of 2017, I think it was. And he ran it for like 5 years. It was only supposed to be 1 year, and he ran it for like 5 years. Like last year was the last year they made it. I bought 2 copies, and it's the Deck of the Bastard, but it has a frame coffin silhouette around it. Like it's so cool. I love it. That's the one I carry with me. And then one other one I really love, which is, I'd have to say, and other people that I study with from our school, I've talked them into it, and they're like, oh my God, this deck is amazing. So like, as Dusty said, the art changes the meaning, but this deck, there is something about it that it doesn't. It's almost like seamless, and you get more information. It's called the Pulp Tarot, and it's by Todd Alcott, and you can get it on his Etsy page. And it's literally pulp drawings, and with the skinny waists and the whole deal.
So then I'm gonna just assume that you don't subscribe to the theory that someone else has to buy your tarot cards for you.
That was yeah.
Me neither. Buy your own tarot. Love your own tarot.
Absolutely. I literally have like over 200 decks now, and it's getting a little out of hand.
Well, it always does. I heard. A lot of collectors, people collect
readers
buttons
become
and
collectors.
they collect, and they collect. But there's so much amazing decks out there with these indie, deck owners that the art is fabulous.
It is. And that's the thing. I mean, as I said earlier, I was a professional photographer, had my own studio for 10 years. So I love art. Like it's just always been one of the things I'm very passionate about. I love art. I don't have anything on my walls, as you see, but like, it's just, there's such an appreciation that I have for art, and holding those decks are literally like holding little pieces of art in your hands.
Agree.
And it's just, it's such a beautiful thing to connect with it on that level, just to have an appreciation.
But then on the same, I don't know about you, but for me, there's some decks that I have that I just can't read. The art is beautiful and the symbolism might be there, but there's something that I just cannot read them.
Right. And sometimes it's almost like there was a few decks that when I first started, I had gotten like the theme decks, and because I'm also like a knitter and a crocheter, and I used to be a designer for that too and write patterns. So yeah, see, more entrepreneurial stuff.
Bring it all into cards.
Yeah, bring it all in. So what happened was they actually made a deck that was yarn related. So it had knitting needles and crochet needles and, you know, treadles and everything like around the whole like yarn community, yarn crafting. And I did a knit night where everybody got together and they were like knitting, and then people were coming in and getting tarot readings separately on the side. So I did that when I first started, and I was struggling with what they were, like turning them around in my head, because I'm still thinking about Rider-Waite-Smith. Like that's what I was training on. So it was like, I was pushing my envelope, and sometimes the cards weren't triggering in my head. I just did another event like that a few weeks ago, and it was like this. So sometimes it's just about working and creating that relationship that when you switch, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. So my question is, since we're talking about decks and there's like thousands of decks out there, what would be your advice if someone is looking for a deck to start or, you know, explore in this type of divination?
Well, like I said, I started with, and then I'm going to actually recommend the same thing. I started with the original, and I feel like we have to pay homage to it. It's not even the original, because if we all study the history of it, it gets really crazy. And I'm kind of a history nerd with all this. I love, like, you know, I've got the Visconti Forza deck just for the fun of it. And like, I have that in my collection. But as far as when I say the original, I'm referring to the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork. Okay. Because there were other people before them that have created decks, like as we talked about Thoth and all of those, but it's the one where information is most prevalent, because I actually tried to go after learning Vera Sibilla first, okay, because my family is Italian, and I wanted to kind of, you know, forward the heritage and find information, and I couldn't. It's so limited, you can't learn it. So that's why I kind of like gave in, and I was like, okay, I'll do the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I'll start there, and then I'll expand. So you want to go where you can get the most information. And sometimes when, as I said earlier, the art changes the meanings, and sometimes that artist has a different outlook on what that card should mean. And then it gets very complicated and convoluted. So you might as well learn the original, and then, like, you know, after you got your training wheels, take them off and then
fly.
Yeah.
And then
you'll find one that you really, really align with, you know?
Yeah.
But that's my advice.
Good advice.
Yeah.
You mean you need the foundation before you move into your own.
Absolutely.
And if there's foundational tools, then that's where you should start. To be successful in it, I think that you should follow.
Yeah. And I think it's like any other technique, as things get reinterpreted and redesigned, there's something that changes. You're seeing through the lens of that artist, not so much through the lens of the original creator. Not that there were years before that, but if you're looking for that first iconic, it's really like an iconic deck, the Rider-Waite. It's
so if people want to set up time, or, you know, like do a pet or whatever, they go to your site if you want to.
Absolutely. So you could click on cardchaper.com. It's a Linktree site, so it's very easy. You could just drill down and tap on what you want. My book is available there. If you want to come in for an in-person session, and I will say session because that could either be a tarot reading, a Reiki, a combination of the two, whatever. The first tab on the site gives you a 25% discount to come up to Denville as a first-time client. And I also do virtual readings. So that would be the second one underneath that would get all the other ways that you can reach and book with me.
That's great.
Yeah.
So they could come there, get readings. They could do Reiki with you. And then they could buy a book. Is there any other things that you offer that you might want to?
Well, we're going to be, so, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's in the process of like planning a lot of things right now. So basically my healing studio is what I'm referring to it as, is actually in a yoga studio. So it's located inside a yoga studio. And so now there's even more room to expand. So we're trying to put together events where we're like, this is all like kind of in the works of having a monthly, I'm sorry, my brain is like shutting down as I'm speaking right now. We're having like a monthly healing session. So basically what we would do, like an energy share. So basically people would come and we would do tarot for each other, or we do Reiki on each other, or we do sound healing. So that's going to be set up. We're also, a new idea that just kind of came to the surface yesterday was a tarot book club. So basically I'm really, really excited about this one. So, so we're basically going to just get a book and go through it. And I haven't decided whether we're doing it weekly or bi-weekly or whichever, but it'll be a great way to introduce the tarot to people and get them physically working with decks and tuning into their own intuition and how their own interpretations, come about.
Well, that's kind of cool. Too bad you couldn't let people come here and you could put it on the screen.
We have Fancy Mancy Divination. That's what we have. We have our Fancy Mancy Divination Club that meets once a month, which is like a book club, but cooler.
Well, I mean, yeah. And you know what? I mean, John, there's nothing saying that we can't do it virtually too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I mean, like to talk about a tarot book. I mean, you always wanted to talk about tarot books. I mean, we wanted to do like that style of things too, like at here, but not as detailed, but differently. Mm-hmm. But it would be kind of cool if someone else is conducting that people were interested. Yeah. They could sit and watch it on a TV and
and that's the thing, because it's all about working with the cards. And like you could read, but it's like, but we've got to work with the cards. We've got to make that connection
all the time. You're never gonna get really comfortable with it unless you're doing it all the time. Even if you're pulling cards for yourself and looking at them.
When I was training, as I said, I really had nothing to do, but I would spend between learning and drilling, I would spend between 4 and 6 hours a day. Yeah. And I did that for almost 6 months straight.
Wow.
Mm. It's dedication.
It is.
But if it's something you love, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't. Hobbies can become someone's professional career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's true. And I've had people, I mean, I literally went, that was another story I don't think I've ever told either one of you, but I wrote the book and, I put it out there here and there, but it was never like I made it so like, I didn't like make a big splash. It was like here and, it's out there. And I did some podcast interviews and stuff like that for it, but I didn't really just do anything like those big time authors do, because I'm self-published.
Right.
And I did an event in, I think it was December, right around Christmas, right before Christmas. And it was an event where there were 2 other readers, and I knew one of the other readers, and the other reader I didn't know. And she comes up to me and she's like, "Hi, you don't know me, but I know you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know me? And she was like, I wanted to tell you, she's like, I've been reading tarot for like 20 years on my own. And because of your book, I went professional. And like, I burst into tears, like right there.
It's absolutely amazing.
It was just so nice to like see that it's doing its job. Like the book is
you put that out there, and it's creating a life of its own.
It's nice. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see that we all have people that inspire us, and to start off and find someone that, you know, that inspired you to have you and write a book and you inspire someone else. It's almost like a full circle, and you're sort of doing exactly what you wanted to do, and
it's what the universe wanted you to do.
Because I didn't even know I needed to do this. So yeah.
You're definitely fulfilling a bigure role with that.
So I don't know, when were you going to schedule to come back? Maybe if you do, you can bring some books, and maybe
she always brings books.
Yeah. Maybe we can sort of put it out there and then highlight the book, and then maybe people can come and you can maybe talk a little bit about the book, and then you could do some, you know, go into some readings. I think that'd be kind of interesting to have. You know, you would be our first real, well, not really, right? An author that talked about their book and sold the book.
First one,
yeah. You'll be our first one.
We've been wanting that for a while.
Yeah, we've been wanting. Yeah, we've been really trying to focus on giving opportunities for people that wrote or have poetry, or they were in the middle of a novel that they wanted to just come and talk and get some feedback. Because I think that, you know, we are our own worst critic, but when you're in something so much, you pick it apart and you could distort it a little. So it's nice to actually put it out there and get the vibe of what you're trying to do from the audience.
Get some extra energy back to push you to the finish line, because that's one of the things I think we all suffer from, especially being creative. It's easy to start a project, but to finish it is another story. Totally.
That's our problem. Yeah, that's our problem naturally as an Aries. We need those Virgo friends.
yeah. We need the pushers, because otherwise I'll be like, okay, whatever.
John likes to give us all ideas.
I give ideas and then I walk around.
And then he walks away.
I walk around and I say,
"Yep,
that's it. I'm done."
Yep. His job is done.
Yeah, my job is done
with the collateral.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I'm like, well, I gave you the idea. Now you got to do something.
Do you have any other
final? We're gonna wrap up. Any other thoughts? Anything that you want to push? Anything?
Did we miss anything?
So there is something coming up in April. It's more in your neck of the woods. There is a 3-day expo at the Edison Raritan Center Expo Center.
Yes.
It's called the Heart of Oneness. And it is a 3-day mind, body, spirit expo. And I am going to be there. I'm actually going to be speaking about my book.
Very cool.
There's a topic there that I have. I'm going to be doing readings, and I'm going to have like special offers and stuff like that going on as well. And yeah, there's tons of people, like it's tons and tons of vendors and readers, and like not just me, Reiki practitioners, sound healers.
When is that?
April 3rd. It's the second. I think it's April. I think it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
The 5th. And Friday's the April 5th.
Yes, it's the 5th.
Saturday 6th, Sunday's the 7th.
Yes, it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Right.
And that Saturday, I'm actually going to be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Card Shaper. So. Yeah. And the 1-year anniversary of the release of the book. So it's like, yeah, it's going to be huge. They expect between 10 and 12,000 people.
That's great.
Congratulations on that. That's huge.
You.
So it's going to be really exciting. So, you know, come by. The first 200 people each day get a free goodie bag, and
that's nice.
Yeah. So it'll be a cool experience, and you come and shop.
Absolutely. That's great. One fast question. So you had said earlier, and I don't know if you talked about it again. So if people wanted to do, like, you go to someone's home and do a party, or they could come to you and do a party,
Absolutely.
like a
So,
bridal shower or
mhm,
whatever.
mhm,
I think that those things are really very cool, but they can
yeah,
contact you directly on your website.
Yeah.
absolutely. All my information is on my website, and yes, they can do personal parties, and we do have room at the studio where we can do that. My room is actually like a separate room, so it's separate where people can enjoy themselves. They can party, they can eat, do whatever they want, and then come in individually for the readings.
That's nice because I know a lot of readers that I've known in the past have done those types of things, and I think it's a great opportunity because it builds that your business going forward because those people have people and those have
Mhm.
people.
Yep.
It's almost like a Tupperware party for tarot cards.
That's basically, yes, and that has been part of my experience too. I used to sell candles and pocketbooks through direct sales. So yeah, more of the influence inserted.
Candles, we don't mind the pocketbooks, but to do the spiritual side, I think is really very interesting, and I think that it's become such a more free flowing kind of thing with this younger generation wanting answers and searching for them, and I think that's inspiring
I think also
to a point.
culturally, it's a lot more, people are a lot more open about
Yes.
exploring spirituality and divination and things like that.
Right.
So it's a little less like a tarot reader. You know, it's more like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna go to a tarot
Yeah. Oh
reader. We have
yeah.
a big
Yeah,
question.
totally.
We have a
Yeah.
let me call
No,
my
I mean,
safe.
I still had like, and as of recently, yeah, I still do get some pushback. People are like, I'll pray for you. I'm like, okay, yeah, thanks. Like, I'm just like, so it's still out there, but it's a lot less.
Yeah.
A
Right.
lot less than it used to be. And
Definitely.
I think I have to thank, unfortunately, I think I have to thank COVID for opening a lot of people's minds.
I agree with you. That was something that I always said because I think that people felt that there was this ending that was going to be like this.
Yeah.
And I think they needed to know stuff quicker. Like they needed to feel something,
Well, you needed to feel some
right?
kind of
Like a
spirituality too,
safety,
because it's scary. When you're
right,
scared, you want to rely on
right. And
And,
I,
that's the thing too. Like, so when you're locked in your house, what else is there to do than to have to deal with yourself?
right.
You
And
know?
I believe 100 wholeheartedly, ever since COVID, things changed the dynamics of the metaphysical, spiritual
Yeah,
realm
definitely.
in a
Mm.
positive environment. And actually, people are really seeing how calming and relaxing and spiritual journeys they're all
Mhm.
on. So
Well,
which
we
is
stopped,
great.
and that was the thing too, because we stopped long enough. We were forced to stand still.
Yes.
If you think about that,
Yeah.
like, just how much distraction was in our lives compared to now, because
It's almost like forcing someone to meditate.
right,
Right.
it really was. We had to look in the mirror whether we liked it or not, because
That's all you
I
had to look at.
yeah,
I totally agree, and I'm gonna say something that I could get, but this is my opinion. It's nothing else's, but this is just
It's
mine.
John's opinion, not the opinion of the
It's not the
parlor.
ability of the part. You got to do it in a really low voice. Um, but my thing is, I really enjoyed that time
A
being
lot of people did.
separated, and
yeah,
it was
I still
because,
had to go to work, but
but I was to get like to have my husband and have a safety that I know that he was there and not worry about other, things that are thrown wrench wise into the dynamics of things. The feeling that, okay, we're here, let's do whatever. I think that out of the time that we were there, I think it was only maybe one argument, but otherwise I did it and I was enjoying it. I didn't want to cook. So instead of eating like the bad way, I ended up going the other way and not eat and ate more healthy.
I
So
did
I
too.
did
I
lose
lost
85
I
pounds.
lost like 25 pounds. I exercised every day, and that's when I was doing the crochet business, and then the tarot deck showed up, and it was just all of these things, and like we all took a corner But
And
it
we
was
sat
nice
down
because
and said time out.
Yes.
everybody, right, and everybody had their own little corner that we could survive in, but it was nice because we were still all together. And I'm sure, just like my pets were very happy, I'm sure your pets were very happy as well, John.
Oh yeah, they were. But I do have to say the one other thing, and then we'll let you go. I never had an opportunity to, because of doing the interact and the Zooms, that I got a chance to meet some absolutely amazing people from from the LGBTQ plus realm, drag, jewelers, that I never would have gotten a chance to meet if I didn't really sit down and interact the way that I did. And I am very appreciative of that experience. So,
Yeah, absolutely. It really did. It opened up a lot. So yeah, it's there was some good that came out of it.
right.
Definitely
It
an
was a
energetic
shift.
shift.
It was, yeah, you were all on board for the roller coaster,
Whether
Yep.
you
whether you wanted to be or not. And then,
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I wouldn't have thought about doing something like this 5 years ago. Like,
right.
and now here we are in the comfort of where we need to be, and we're still meeting.
Right.
So like I said, things really did change on a lot of different levels for people.
So before we finish up, any last words, anything that you'd like to reiterate?
I love you guys. I can't wait to come back.
We love you too.
We love you
We
too.
love you too. And it's great. And I have to tell you that, we as individuals are in awe about where you started, how you started, where you came from, what direction you're going in. You got the book, your new store, you have ideas and thoughts. And if we can be any help, we understand, because we're still forging forward. That's why we thought of doing something like this and focusing on our thoughts and helping other individuals as well as helping ourselves. And I think it's a great thing. So, like I said, if anybody has any kind of needs that they would like to go and see Nicole, it's cardshaper.com. And they could come and reach out and set up some time. Or when the next time you come here, we'll figure something out. We'll post something. You could do book signing and talk about your book.
Sure. I appreciate all that you guys do for me. It's so wonderful. I'm truly grateful.
We're truly grateful too. You're an amazing person as well as an amazing reader, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
So any final words before we sign off?
I love you.
We love you too. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Nicole.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.